Let me give you a quote here. Where are my glasses? I feel like Red Fox sometimes. I got so many eyeglasses around here. I think I got about 40 by Walgreens up in here. Yeah. Who do you have to unbecome to become the person you truly need to be? Did you hear that one? That'll pretch. Who do you have to unbecome to become the person you truly need to be? I had to unbecome being a disc jockey. I had to learn how to use my voice in a different way. I had to learn to let go of music and embrace reading 2 to 3 books a month because I wanted to be a dominant voice. I didn't want to be a black speaker. I wanted to be the speaker in the speaking industry. I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in. I'm the kind of person, I don't like being in between. I don't like to be at the back of the line. I want to be in the front of the line, and I'm going to prepare myself and work on myself to be a dominant voice. Take no prisoners, and like Mike Tyson, eat the wounded, starting at the ears. Let me get some ketchup. Oh my God, no he did not. Oh, he's bad today. He's a bad boy. He's a bad boy today. Yes, he is. I think it's the proximity of Tyrone and the fact that we're going to have some very beautiful weather today here in hot Atlanta. That's what it's going to be today. It's been cool a few days, but today I think we're going to be around 82. That's fabulous. I got me some cocoa butter. I'm going to sit on the back deck and rub myself down in some cocoa butter. Give myself a little tan up in here. Up in here. You wonder, who are these people behind me? My children. They're speakers and they're trainers. On your right, that's Calvin, and he's my oldest son. Then Samaya, she's a little preacher. She's a little incognito preacher. And then Patrick, and then there is Serena. She's in ministerial school. She's a minister as well. Then of course there's Ona. Dr. Ona Brown, and there's John Leslie. He's the CEO of the company, and Calvin's the president, and they try to rule my life, saying I'm old. Hey, I said, you ought to wish you can get here. I was trying to call some people yesterday, and I kept getting, this number no longer works. I said, whoa. I've never called this many people in my life, and their numbers disconnected. I said, why is that? Asked Calvin. He said, they're probably dead. I said, are you kidding me? Yes, Dad. Everybody don't make 70 or 75. You're 76. That's an elite club. You're in overtime. Overtime. I'm in overtime, yeah. Who do you know been battling 4th stage cancer for 29 years, kicking cancer's butt, and still working, still in his right mind, still got the fire in his belly, still being active, still making a difference, still motivating people and inspiring people and making people feel good? Who do you know on your level that's doing it like that? Huh? Who is it? Eric Thomas? Andy Enriquez? Come on, Johnny Wimbrey? No, I got t-shirts older than all of them. Stacey NC Grant? No, Ian Levanza? No, none of them. Lisa Nichols? No. I got earrings older than them, but I don't wear them in public. You are just over the top this morning. You don't need to go to sleep at 8:30 anymore and wake up at 3:30. just munching at the bit to get to the microphone. No, you don't need to do that anymore, because you're off the hook this morning. You're over the top this morning. Yes, you are. If you believe that laughter is important, if you believe being deliberately positive is important, having a spirit of optimism is important in spite of, because there are a lot of people that don't understand the power of laughter and the power of being joyful and deliberately feeling good. Does it mean that I don't have any challenges? Yes, I do. Stuff's happened to people that I care about. Yeah, got nephew's blind at 38. And thinking of ways to keep him motivated and inspired and engaged and not giving up and not feeling that no woman would be interested in him because he does not have any sight. Oh, no. I said, come on. You handsome dude, you look like your uncle. Somebody can see you. Come on now. And if she blind, she don't care how you look. I remember being at West Angeles and George Wallace, a comedian, I'm not making this up. He got mad because the bishop brought Stevie Wonder down on the front row. George Wallace said, why give him the front row seat? Put him on the back row, facing the wall. He won't know the difference. I said, oh my God, come on, George. Bishop Blake, he said, I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that, to his credit. He said, I'm not doing that. Oh, baby, remember that. I'm about to cry. Put him on the back seat. Facing the wall. Oh, that's what Jonathan would say. Oh, my goodness. Oh, boy. That George Wallace, the comedian, he is crazy with a K. Oh, boy. Thank you, Zakia. Says laughter is contagious. You are absolutely right. Thank you very much. This is Les Brown. I want to talk to you about fighting for the life that you want. And that's something that we're looking at with admiration with the people in Ukraine. These people are fighting. And it's really like David and Goliath. He had 5 stones, but he only used 1. And I think that was the stone of determination, the stone of faith, the stone of perseverance. When you think about where things are there are several things that come up for me here. That we have a similar situation right here in the United States. We're dealing with police departments who, for the most part, they are serving people. They serve and protect the dominant culture, but people of color, they terrorize and murder. It's a whole different thing. And there was something I remember by Claude McKay. Where is that paper? I saw something by Claude McKay, and it reminded me of these powerful words by Claude McKay. It was something that Claude McKay did. He was a poet from Jamaica, went to New York, and it was a piece that Claude McKay did called If We Must Die. I want to find that piece because it speaks to where if you want to have something in life, you got to be willing to go to the left for it. You got to be willing to fight for it. Frederick Douglass said something that I love very much. He said, power concedes nothing without a demand. People that dominate you and that control you, they're not just going to give that up and walk away. No, You got to fight, and you've got to be willing to fight to the death in order to get the things that you want. Give me the Claude McKay piece that we were talking about earlier. And so when you look at where you are, anything that has any value that you want to create in your life, it's something else. Frederick Douglass, he said, we might not get everything we fight for, but everything we get, there will be a fight. So when you think about your life in and out of the pandemic, and that there are forces, white supremacists, that infiltrate the majority of police stations and operations in the country, that we have to be willing to fight for what we want. And people trying to turn back the hands of time, trying to deny us the opportunity to vote, working relentlessly to deny marginalized people opportunities in an unequal environment. It's a continuous fight. And so I want to focus on something about this. This is symbolic. One, the recklessness of Putin, that there are people in life, short-term thinking, driven by ego, that think that they can just bully and pounce on people and think that everybody will stand by and watch. Something that one rabbi said that I love very much. He said, when something happens, three things are going on. One, there's a perpetrator, and they're the victims, and they're the witnesses. And the question is, who's the worst? And the answer is the witnesses. People who stand by and do nothing. People who stand by and say nothing. And one of the great things about what's going on now in this country and around the world, that people have awakened. I remember the demonstrations, and I found it hard-worthy when George Floyd was murdered by a cop and the cops that were with the murderer. They stood back and they watched. At any point in time, they could have intervened and said, come on, it's four of us and one of him. He's handcuffed, he's down, and we're on top of him. But they didn't do that because they don't recognize your humanity. When you're in a country that does not recognize your humanity, and that most certainly is in America, then it's a different kind of environment. When you come from home, you are terrorized. You face when you're driving, that you're in an environment where you're going to be terrorized or murdered by those who are sworn to protect and to serve. And so when you have goals and dreams that you want to achieve, there are systems that are put in place to deny you, to destroy your sense of self, and to demonize you. And the way that you overcome that, you gotta fight. I'm encouraged, I'm inspired by what's taking place in the Ukraine. That those Ukrainians have said, no, this is not the life that we want. We want the life that we are now experiencing. We don't want someone to control our destiny. That's powerful. That's encouraging. God is in the midst of all this stuff as we watch, as we observe. And I'm saying to you, as you look at yourself, look at your goals, that everything you want to do, if it's changing your life, if it's having your own business, if it's bouncing back from a setback, and many people have experienced that. Many people have lost their businesses, have gone through foreclosure, gone through evictions. Many people, their businesses have gone under, but something that Willie Jolly said, that a setback, come on Willie, a setback is a setup for a comeback. You got comeback power. And when you know that, I remember when I was on the ropes dealing with fourth stage cancer, that those words stayed in my mind. I remember the words of Bob Proctor, who just passed a couple of weeks ago, that Bob talked about your mindset and your willingness to do what's required to move your life forward to achieve the things that you want to achieve. It's going to take everything in you. A.L. Williams said, all you can do is all you can do, and all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all you can do. And since Bob Proctor's transition, I've been reflecting on my own life, because we all have an expiration date. And I ask myself constantly, if you had your life to live over again, Les, could you have done more than what you have done thus far? And the truth is, yes. I'm ashamed. I could have done more. And I'm still here. I still got some time. I can still speak. I can still make a difference. Somebody said, why don't you do something other than just speak? To do something where you can have some fun. I said, are you kidding me? I have fun speaking. Are you kidding me? I have a ball changing lives. I want you to think about this. Live your life in the way that you want to live your life. When it's time for me to go, I will still be speaking. Come on, somebody. Well, oh, behave. Yes! And I have a lot of fun. We did some training in Orlando, and I was masked up. I got a plastic mask. I got all kind of masks up here. Let me tell you something. Nobody's hooked up more than me. And we had a ball. I got, I got masks. See here? Homemade playing. Where's my plastic mask? I got it. See, I got everything up in here. When I came in there, they said, what was that guy's name? I forgot. The Silence of the Lambs. I got everything up in here. Yeah, where's my plastic mask? Hey, Maui. Oh, here it is. I got everything on it. Look here, this is how I'm going to the airport today. I'm going back to Atlanta. So this is what I'm doing. I don't even fly anymore. But I had to come do my seminar. So this is what I got going, okay? All right, okay. So then, in addition to this, I got everything, baby! You want that movie to call The Silence of the Lambs?
That's
So, look here. If a dog sneezes around me, I'll get up and run. But let me tell you something. So I'm masked up. Do you hear me, homie, playing? Listen to this. This is by Claude McKay. This is a bad boy. He's a bad brother. This is not the front of it. If we must die, where's that? No. Oh, this is the small print up to the top. All right. Listen to this. If we must die, let it not be like hogs, hunted and pinned in an inglorious spot, while around us bark the mad and hungry dogs, making their mock at our accused lot. Winston Churchill, he loved this. He said, if we must die, oh, let us nobly die, so that our precious blood may not be shed in vain. Then even the monsters we defy shall be constrained to honor us, though dead. O kinsmen, we must meet the common foe. Though far outnumbered, let us show us brave, and for their 1,000 blows deal one death blow. What though before us lies the open grave? Like men we'll fight the murderous cowardly pack, pressed to the wall, dying, but fighting back. Come on, somebody. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, when you look at that, they got people, senior citizens like me, making Molotov cocktails. Am I right?
Yeah, they have a factory.
They have a factory doing it in their garages. Everybody. I mean, they're men who've taken their families and the women across the border, and then they come back to fight for the life that they want. And there are people sitting around just watching. Let me share something with you. Life is a fight for territory. And once you stop fighting for what you want, what you don't want will automatically take over. Have they not been willing to fight? And trust me, the people who are watching, they admire them and say, wait a minute, these people are fighting. They're not just letting Putin with his crazy self just come in and take over the country because he wanted to. They're putting up a fight. The people are standing in front of tanks. Say, no, you're going to run me over? Do what you need to do. But we're going to fight you. And then those Russian troops, many of them don't even know why they're there. Some of them say they've been driving around to run out of gas because they don't want to fight these Ukrainians. They were lied to. And so when you think about this place, what we're watching at this time, as if the pandemic wasn't enough, now this madness. And you better believe, even though it's thousands of miles away, it's affecting our collective consciousness. What happens to any of us happens to all of us, even though it's thousands of miles away. Oh boy, no man is an island, no man stands alone. When you think about where we are in this point in time, I'm encouraging all of you for your prayers and support of the Ukrainian people, and for us to reflect on our own lives and our own battles that we have here. We have our own stuff here. The police departments are being run and controlled by white supremacists. We got our own stuff here. And I say to you that when they know that we mean business, that you're not going to just continue to terrorize us and murder us and get away with it like you've been doing for centuries, trust me on this. They're going to begin to respect us, saying, no, they're not being pushed around and look past, and they are willing to stand up for each other. That's that, and they fear if the Ukraine joins NATO, and that's the message I want to talk to you about right now. They fear Russia don't want the Ukrainians to join NATO. Why? Because if you attack any of us, you attack all of us. And there's a message in that this is the time that you want to develop a mindset of liberation, a mindset of determination, and you want to develop your skill set, learning all that you can. And because if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. But if you're willing to learn, no one can stop you. But the other piece that's major is developing strategic relationship alliances. That's why I'm talking to you now. They don't want them to join NATO, because if you affect and impact or attack anybody in NATO, you got to fight all of them. And he doesn't want to see that happen. He doesn't want them to do that. And when we come together around our values, come together with a determination to stand up for a better future for our children, when we develop strategic alliances, communities of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships, there's some power in that. Because you can't make it by yourself in this thing called life. There'll always be some battles. There's some evil people in this world. And I don't have to tell you that, you know that. And you have to protect yourself from them. I remember when I was working at WVKO radio station in Columbus, Ohio, and Eddie Saunders, who was the assistant program, no, he was the program director for a long time. And Eddie was the vice general of the radio station. And he used to box, and Eddie was in his 70s and I was in my 20s. And I said, Eddie, I heard you used to box. He said, yes. I said, you know what? I think I'll just run over there and slap you side the head, see what you do. He said, come on. He said, you might run over here, but you will limp back. I said, okay, Eddie. Eddie Saunders said, I ain't scared of you. You run over here, You gonna limp back, young man. You know, young broom sweep clean, but old broom nowhere to go. So this is a historic time. I'm watching this. I'm pulling for the Ukrainians. And you know, the Orange Man and all his minions and these, you know, these spineless people today, they should write a book called Profiles in Cowardice. I remember a book was written called Profiles in Courage. But we're living in a time we got politicians talking out both sides of their neck because they're afraid of the Orange Man. And I've said to you, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a spirit of power and of love and of sound mind. You have something special. You have greatness in you. Look around at the people in your life. Who is it that you need to build a deeper relationship with? And who is it that you need to walk away from those relationships? Why? Because they're not good for you. They bring no value in your life. I'm cleaning house. You hear me? I'm cleaning house because I found myself giving more in a relationship and they brought zero. There are people who are always there when they need you, but when you need them, you can't find them. And you have to ask yourself the question. In these places where we are right now, you got to ask the question, who should I count on? And who should I count out? Who should I count on? And who should I count out? And as you look at yourself, look at your goals, and look at your dreams, you want to watch people. Give them 90 days to prove who they are. Watch and observe them. Don't just take any and everybody in. Something Jim Rohn said. He said, you look at your life, and he said, it's either a warning or an example. A warning of what not to do or an example of what to do. Even when this is over, Orange Man's boyfriend, Putin, he has now jacked himself up. He's in a corner right now. And he had short thinking and said, you know what? I had no idea what I was doing, what I did then. Now he's thinking about how can I save face? But see, there's some kind of damage that you can do that won't be forgotten. Even if they stop right now, people are not going to forget this. No, he's going to be paying for this until he takes his last breath, and the people who supported him in that. So it's very important. Do unto others as you will have others to do unto you. Go, Ukrainians! Go, go, go! That's what I'm talking about. You have something special. You have greatness in you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Bye for now. I know they're gonna win. They will snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. The world is standing with you. You know, you saw a post asking the question, can these bones live? I'm in Miami, where I was born and raised. And I don't know if you've ever been away from home a very long time, and you come back and you can't recognize it. It's jaw-dropping. It's different. When I think about my life, when I left here, I had a youth program. I was working with youth in Liberty City, where I was born in an abandoned building before. And I teach people live a life of no regrets. One of the things that I regret that I didn't come back and do the training with kids that I was engaged in Liberty City after my training was interrupted by Janet Reno, who was encouraged to cast aspersions on my character because they thought I would get funding that their program would not get in Coconut Grove. One of the reasons that we don't have the kind of training that's sustainable and impactful for our children. Those in leadership, one, they don't know that they don't know. Two, they fight and argue over who's going to get the money. And three, they also argue about who would get the credit. So I developed a strategy, my training program, that I would train people who volunteer. And the people in the community would be the people driving it. It would not be around the personality. Some things happen to you and you realize they happened for you. And as a result of that interruption, I turned down the offer of renewing my program. And I said, I'm going to go on the road. I'm going to travel around the world. And using the things that I was teaching these young people, apply those in my own life and demonstrate that they work. And after I earned my first million, which took me 3 years, I'll come back and do the program myself. No funds from the city. After I made my first million, I said, this is good. And I didn't look back. And I kept going because I went to various organizations, the NAACP, the Urban League, churches all over the country, and they're saying, well, we like your program, but you're not teaching young people about Jesus. I said, listen, you teach them about Jesus. I teach the message that Jesus taught. You sell the message. I sell this message. And if what you were doing is working so well, I wouldn't be here. But the truth of the matter, they weren't looking at how do we begin to create a self-development program that will give young people a positive image of themselves. They were vehemently opposed to that. They wanted me to teach young people Jesus would fix it. Jesus said, these things ye shall do, and greater things shall ye do. I'm 77 now. Can these bones live? Good friend drove me through Overtown and Liberty City. Nothing like when I came along. Can these bones live? Good question. Good question. Can these bones live? The powers that be ran an expressway through Overtown and Liberty City to disrupt the voting block and the businesses. We had our own theaters, own shops, own stores, everything. The expressway, they could have gone further east down the railroad track and built that expressway, but they deliberately wanted to interrupt that voting block and that economic power. Like Wall Street didn't just take place in Oklahoma. No. Take place all over the country to this day. Here's what I know at 77. The ones that control the wealth, which is 1%, they create barriers that help the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. And the ones, people like myself, who break out in spite of, You gotta be hungry. That's what my new book entitled. You get it on Amazon. You got to be hungry. Racism ain't going nowhere. It's unfair world in which we live in. It's not fair that birds eat worms, and they do. What do you want to do with your life? We have an expiration date. Talking to the friend that's driving me, and she said one of the things that she looked at her life, she said her significant other, before he passed, was trying to prepare her, and she said she didn't want to hear it. One of the things she's going to speak about is pay attention. The reason that the 1%, after years, centuries of being in power, and those numbers have not increased, because of ignorance and because of the 99% are divided by politics and religion. Ignorance, politics, and religion keeps us at each other's throats while they focus on the money, while they follow the money. The orange man, his children have made millions, and still are. The rich are getting richer now. The poor are getting poorer because of how the system is structured. The culture that we live in now, a culture of violence. The cultures are created by people. A culture of violence and poverty created by people. And they can be changed by people. Can these bones live? Yes, absolutely. And the secret is to maintain commitment. Maintain commitment. Through all the frustrations, through all the disappointment and setbacks, to build the mental resolve, have a thirst for learning. You have to unlearn and relearn to increase your value and to create collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. Can these bones live? Well, you know, Quincy Jones is a prophet. He had a song years ago. He said, everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Johnny, how are you? I love you. That's my spiritual son, Johnny Wimber. From the Hood to Doing Good. That's a good book. That's relevant today. 1 out of 4 African-American males have been incarcerated, have a criminal background, gone astray. From the hood to doing good. And he's a young man that's brilliant, that is living a life of contribution and living a life of impact. One of my spiritual sons. This thing called life. We woke up this morning. We're still here. And that's a blessing. My goal is to teach you how to make the rest of your life the best of your life. I know a thing or two. I've been on the planet 77 years. I know a thing or two. And I know that everybody can't hear me. Everybody can't hear me. Only the few. The road to life is straight and narrow. And few there be that find it. Because few there be that's looking for it. Majority of people just want to survive, just want to be entertained, Just want to go out and buy an artificial booty. It's a boobs. It's a fly swatters. And they are hooked up. They are satisfied. Oh, behave. Oh my God. You know what I've learned to do is just observe. Just watch. Watching people. It's fascinating. And you ask yourself, how can they live like that? Because that works for them. It might not work for you, but it works for them. And it's none of your business. It's none of my business. Mimi Brown, my adopted mother, said, "Oh Lord, help me keep my nose out of other people's business." Like this page and share it. I'm going to drop something on you right now. I want you to listen. Each day when you get up, I want you to declare, "Thou shalt decree a thing that shall be established unto you." I want you to say to yourself, "Lord, this is going to be the best day of my life." And then I want you to get still and say, "Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth thee." And then say, "Here's what I'm going to do today that will make it the best day of my life today. And here's what I'm going to learn today that I did not know yesterday." You got to be intentional. You got to write it down, focus on it, get a 3x5 card, and write what it is you want out of this day. Put on the flip side, Matthew 7:7, "Ask and it shall be given, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened." Life is for living. Make it your business. Get serious about this thing called life.
Let's talk about buried treasure and why you opened the book with this, because your story and my story has a lot of similarities, and our journey, the journey that we took to being where we are today. But every author has a journey. And how has your journey actually influenced you as a best-selling author, as a business mogul and motivational speaker? How has that influenced you?
Well, being born in an abandoned building on a floor with a twin brother, Wesley, and then after 6 weeks we were taken in as foster kids by Mrs. Mimi Brown. I am on this broadcast with you because of two women. One gave me life and the other one gave me love. I always say that God took me out of my biological mother's womb and placed me in the heart of my adopted mother. And I always quote Abraham Lincoln, who said, "All that I am and all that I ever hope to be, I owe to my mother." And so that being in that environment, born in that environment, but most of all, the impact and the influence of the character of my mother, her faith, her drive, her determination. I remember a reporter when I had a talk show, King World, and they paid me $5 million to do it. And the reporter asked her, "How did you know that you could raise 7 children by yourself that you've adopted as a single woman?" And she said, "I just felt that the Lord would make a way somehow." And that has driven me that I talk to people, you don't know what you can't do. You don't know enough about yourself to be a sinner. That there are things that we can do. We are more than conquerors. We're here, I strongly believe, to do the greater work. And that we don't have to operate out of the thinking of being logical and practical and realistic. I believe leap and grow your wings on the way down.
Yes.
Become risk takers. We're taught to walk by faith and not by sight. And so my environment, it created within me a mindset of being unstoppable, of believing, of trusting, and living an expanded life. Most people live a small life because they have this limited vision of what's possible for them, based upon the culture that they live in and the conversations that they have been exposed to, and they don't even know. It's unconscious. And so we've all had moments in our lives when we've done things outside of our comfort zone, and we say, wow, I can't believe that I'm doing this. Because now, when you operate out of your comfort zone, in order to do something you've never done, you've got to become someone you've never been. That's why Paul said, I must die daily. We must die daily to who we are, to give birth to who we are destined to become. But most people don't realize, and they don't evolve. They get on a track and they stay on that same track and never get off that particular track. And they take their talents, their abilities, their skills, their dreams with them to the grave. And so when Miles Monroe said that the wealthiest place on the planet is the cemetery, that's real. My best friend, when he died, he was a great cook. And he always talked about having this recipe book that he was going to have. He fixed great Jamaican and Caribbean dinners and plates. He was a master chef. And I'll never forget when I left his graveside after the funeral, a lady came up to me and said, did Alexander, we called him Boo, did Alexander ever write that recipe book? And I said, no. And she said, whoa, he took that with him. Mm-hmm. And so most people take their talents, their abilities, their skills, their knowledge, the things lying dormant in us. We were not born to be one-dimensional. We were born to do things, to experiment with life, to become a risk-taker. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? I love what Mary McLeod Bethune said. Pray as if everything depends upon God, and work as if everything depends upon you. Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts should be established. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So you don't have to know. Do the best that you can, and God will do what you can.
Thank you so much. What an amazing answer. I have someone that just texted me not too long ago, and one of the questions he asked, he said, like Mr. Brown, I was adopted. What were the circumstances when discovering what were the circumstances when you discovered you were adopted? And how did that shape your mind as a motivational speaker? And it's a two-part. The second part is being a top motivational speaker and best-selling author your job or your purpose?
It's my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We were not born to work for a living. We were born to live our making. And making our living will earn whatever we want to earn in terms of life. I was born to speak. My children tell me I talk in my sleep. I used to get in trouble in school for talking so much. Now when I speak in the United States, I earn $70,000 an hour. There are people who work a whole month that don't earn that. And when I speak outside of the United States, I earn $225,000 an hour. So when you connect with your superpower, there are things that you're able to do that you don't even know how to do, but you will find a way to do it. When I spoke in the Georgia Dome, I'd never done that before. And people go on YouTube and put in Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. They'll see me speaking before 80,000 people. That's confirmation when they see that. They can do more. Remember in the Lion King, Simba, you are more than that which you have become. They realize, oh my God, if he could do that, I was labeled educable, mentally retarded, and put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade, and failed again in the 8th grade. They said I was a troubled kid, that I was touched in the head, that I run my mouth too much. Okay, and now, I mean, I get paid to speak.
Yeah, yeah.
God we serve. When I get up in the morning, I say, oh God, all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to his purpose. And so when you, in alignment with your purpose, you will be able to do things that you don't even realize and know that you cannot do. That's why we're told to walk by faith and not by sight. We're told, judge not according to appearances. And so this is how I live my life. I didn't know I could do this. And sometimes you have to be intelligently ignorant.
Yes,
According to the laws of aerodynamics, a bumblebee isn't supposed to fly. But the bumblebee doesn't know it. So it just keeps on flying anyhow.
Yes. And I often say, Mr. Brown, that we're all winging it. And so we're all winging it. So one of the things I love about listening to you, and I listen to you every single day, and not too many people get my attention like that, I could tell you. Right. But you have a brilliant mind, and your ability to take a quote, one quote, and build an entire message around that is nothing short than brilliance. And one of
you have that gift too, because one of my favorites that you do, but God, come on, somebody. Let me tell you something. I was running around the house and accidentally fell and flipped and hit my head and left myself half conscious with a hickey on my head. Shout to but God. You messed me up when that was there.